Well, I think we're live. I think I'm just going to go ahead and start. It's so wonderful to see you guys. But before we jump to the conversation, I just want to introduce everybody. My name is Garfield Lemonius. I'm the chair of the dance department at Point Park University. And welcome to our second dance speaker series produced by the Pittsburgh Playhouse. We are being observed by students in the dance department as well as viewers all over the country. So go ahead and introduce our guests who are alums of Point Park's University Dance Department. And it's fantastic because I haven't seen these individuals in quite some time. So I'm just as excited and curious as you are to find out what they've been up to. First, we have Shanika Goodin. We also have Jennifer Florentino, Cassie Cerinello, and Hunter Mickles.
Hi.
Shanika, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you've been up to all these years since you left Point Park University?
Oh my goodness. Hello, PPU family. My name is Shanika Goodin, like you said. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. Whoop, whoop, Georgia Peach. True and true proud. I graduated in 2011. And ever since then, I've basically been doing mostly Broadway, TV and film. I was a part of Bring It On the Musical, Cats, Hamilton, Cinderella, Peace My Heart, Matilda. And for TV and film, I did The First Purge and Manifest and Almost Family. So I've just been all over the place, and I'm very grateful for those opportunities. I call New York home right now in Harlem, New York. And I am building a baby. In the process of building a little baby. I am also the co-founder of the Black Artists Dance Collective, which is a new community-based organization for the Atlanta Black dance community. And I'm super proud of that and super excited to be starting that. That is something that was birthed out of this COVID-19 pandemic. And I think that the time is right. But I'm grateful to be here with you all, and I can't wait to continue to share with you and with these other beautiful people on the panel.
Thank you, Shanika. Jennifer.
Hi, guys. Hello, my name is Jennifer Florentino. I am from Paterson, New Jersey, but my family is from Dominican Republic. I graduated 2014. And actually, little side note, Shanika was my big sister. So it's fabulous to be here. Thank you, Garfield, for inviting us all here. Post-graduating, I was with Deeply Rooted Dance Theater. Then I did Disney Cruise Ship. Got involved with Sonia Ty for Used to Call Me By Name, which led me to Broadway, where Moulin Rouge, the musical. And then I did On Your Feet. I was dance captaining On Your Feet. And then I did TV and film. I was a part of West Side Story with Steven Spielberg, so I'm excited about that. And for now, before COVID happened, I was doing Once Upon a One More Time with Keone and Mari, which are hip-hop choreographers based in LA, and was later on going to join Kid Pivot with Crystal Pike. So now everything is a little bit of a hold, but yeah, so it's just been a little bit of everything happening. But yeah, I'm excited to be here and excited to hear all your questions and just share more. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to unpack a lot of that, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cassie Cerinello. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, and then graduated from Point Park University in 2016, which was a wonderful experience. Right after that, I moved to New York like right away and then started touring internationally with Bad Boys of Dance. That was like the first thing that I did that led me more into, let's say, the Broadway world of dancing, more commercial. So then after I did that, we were all over Europe. I moved back to New York and started sinking my feet more into the Broadway world there. Did Dance Lab New York, which is a great program based out of New York City, a dance company there. worked with a lot of choreographers that got me into more TV and film stuff and that kind of stuff, signed with my agency there. And then just most recently was doing the first national tour of Fiddler on the Roof. And that's when the pandemic came about and we got sent home pretty abruptly, and hoping that we can get back into New York, on our feet, and hoping that everything can be safe and ready to reopen so we can be back on the stages across America.
We share that hope with you, Cassie. We're looking forward, we certainly look forward to when we can actually go back to the theater and enjoy performances that, you know, certainly of our alums, but also of other artists as well. So we share that, that hope with you. Hunter.
Hi, everyone. First off, I just can't believe that I'm here speaking to Point Park. That is just so wild to me. So I graduated in 2016 with Cassie. I'm originally from North Carolina, where I am right now. Right after graduation, I, moved to New York, meaning into a sublet. So then I joined a small dance company there called Neville Dance Theater. And then I left for a Christmas show after that. And then I moved back to the city. I feel like I've moved back to the city at least 4 times so far. So I did that show, did some regional theater, went on the national tour of Dirty Dancing for about a year. Then worked for PCLO in Pittsburgh, did Dance Lab New York as well. And then after that, went on the international tour of An American in Paris to Asia and Paris. And then most recently, I joined the Wicked National Tour as a temporary replacement, but only for a day because I had to leave right away. So that's kind of my story. So now I'm here back home in North Carolina.
Great. So many interesting journeys from each of you, so many interesting stories, and I can't wait for you to share a little bit more with our students. And I know the Q&A is open for those of you who have questions that you want to ask of our guests. We are very excited to have them with us. Again, a dance department is so proud of what you've accomplished and continue to accomplish. I know this is just the beginning of your journey, and there'll be a lot more stories for us to hear, and we look forward to hearing you share some of those experiences with us. I guess I can jump in and ask one of the first questions that comes to mind for me is, especially for our new freshmen who just joined us this year, our new transfer students and freshmen who joined their dance department, what are some of your fond memories while studying dance at Point Park?
Oh my goodness. Oh, Point Park is a very special place, man. One of my fond memory, first of all, I will say this, I would like to say that I felt my absolute most prepared coming out of Point Park. It is one of the few institutions that actually pushes for versatility and forces you to not be a one-sided dancer. And I think that it goes to show you through the alum you guys had last week, and through us, and through so many other people that I meet in New York City through performing, that versatility speaks to why people are able to come out of Point Park working no matter what. No matter which side of the industry, we all can say that we felt prepared, whether we wanted to go into concert dance, whether we wanted to go into Broadway. And I encourage you as a freshman, and as you continue through your career, your college career journey, that you really take advantage of the fact that you have so many different teachers, so many different styles, genres, techniques, all in one school. That is not the norm. And I've taught at many different college programs. I am a mentor to many different college students, and I have to say that Point Park really knocks it out of the park with that. But if I want to share a fun memory, if you're a freshman and you get to have Keisha, there is the fear factor of a little bit of you're gonna die, but at the same time, you feel like you're a superpower person when you come out of the classroom. And I think that is my most fondest memory of just sweating and working so freaking hard, man, while at the same time thinking this lady is probably gonna kill me. And once I got everybody kicked out of class, I upset her so bad that I got everybody kicked out of class. That's like my best memory, because thinking about how close we are now, and that there's always a method to the madness of what type of greatness these teachers are trying to pull out of you. So trust them. Trust them with each and every single thing, and know that you can talk to them while you are through your career journey. That communication and having that relationship is key. So that's what I want to leave them with.
Thank you, Shanika. And I'll add that it's the same. Keisha is the same. She hasn't changed. She hasn't changed a bit in those regards. She really knows how to get those students ready as freshmen coming in, because, you know, so many students come from so many different backgrounds, and she's really key at getting these students ready for the next level, for their sophomore years and beyond. And yeah, it's not necessarily about putting the fear of God into you, but it's about making sure that they know that what they have, they can go further. And she's one of those faculty members who works really, really hard at putting out whatever already exists in our students. What are the fun memories? I'm curious.
I loved the memory the best, like that I think about the most, is having a live accompanist in your class. Oh my gosh, especially Garfield in your class. I remember just like dying, but PJ would just fuel your body, and it like went through your body that you have to do so good, because this man is over there in the corner just like jamming it out and wanting you to just thrive from the music that he's playing. He has like 5 different instruments, and you're just worried about one. And we're going across stage, and everyone, it was like a celebration every single time within that class. And that I really miss that. Now, especially like going to take class in the city, it's not the same, that you don't have, you know, you have music and stuff, but having that live music and just like, come on, we could do this. I know this is like 2 minutes of class. We have to do this 2 times. We're literally taking every second and every minute. But I feel like that was one of those memories that I always take with me. It's just that the importance of live music, and just like a celebration whenever you are, when you're taking class, you know, it's always a feedback of energy, and like such a community that we build within our class. And it gets to show, because, you know, I still talk to Shanika, I still support Cassie. I saw Hunter in Boston, you know, like it's definitely a community that continues to grow after Point Park. But I definitely, that's one of my, like, those memories that I definitely cherish. Yeah.
I would say that, kind of piggybacking off of that, the community is kind of what I remember almost the most, is because, like, when you go into that setting, you're all in it together. You're all in there at 8 a.m. ballet, like dying in the morning. Like, you know that feeling, you know, the feeling of like your 5th class of the day, and you're just like, oh my God, we have rehearsal tonight too. And like, just knowing that you're all, and you bond so much in that community, just going through all that together, and just being like, I'm from North Carolina, and being in like a bigger city was such a big scenery change for me. So having other people to relate to and have those new experiences with, that sticks out a lot for me.
Yeah, and going off of exactly that same thing, I think like what I can look back on is that we all grew up together. Like, college is such an important part of your growth, not only as a dancer, but as a person. And like having that community at Point Park with the teachers and the students, and we're all going through this incredibly difficult thing together. Like, I don't think I have ever been as tired again as I have been doing at Point Park, like taking all of our technique classes in the day, rehearsing at night and on the weekends. And like, we had this bond. Point Parkers are tough through and through, because we like went through this all together. And I see that even now when I'm out in the professional world, I'm like, it's easier sometimes than like college. And we were so well prepared in so many ways, not only like physically, but like our mental strength and the way that we can like communicate with each other. And again, going off of like the versatility, we took every class, and every different choreographer that was coming in was so diverse. And I'm so grateful for that, because every time I walk into an audition or a different job, I feel like I'm never afraid that I can't do what they're asking of me. And I think that that's what I take the most away from my experience, was that it was this community we built together, went through some of the most difficult times of like working as hard as we can. And we were so much stronger after, and adults after. Like we went in little kids and came out like these beautiful adults that are now still supporting each other, like Jen said, to this day. And it's so nice to see that out in the world. You're afraid, you're like, New York City professional dance world, but we created that community together. So that's what I'm the most grateful for, and I can take away the most.
That's fantastic. It's wonderful to hear all those, that you still have these vivid memories of your time at Point Park. And our current students will certainly have their own experiences as well, good, bad, and indifferent. But it's wonderful to hear that we certainly created a place for you that allowed you to develop into the people that you are today. And I continue to say how proud we are. Now let's fast forward. So you left Point Park and you are now professional dancers. You're now professional artists working in the dance industry. And then a pandemic hit. So, I'm gonna jump right to the questions that they're coming through. And someone just asked, how has the pandemic affected your ability to work and train and express yourself?
Well, what's been really interesting is I was in California when the pandemic hit, doing a new show called Fly, pre-Broadway for that. And the fact that we were literally in the middle of an understudy rehearsal, and they were like, everybody, and I'm talking about, this is a show that has flying in it. So I was like in a harness and about to go up and fly. And then somebody's like, come down, because a pandemic just hit and you're basically about to go home tomorrow. So it was just so interesting, because it's just like an experience that you never would think would happen. And the ongoing joke in New York and just theater period is that Broadway never shuts down. So you really don't know. For us, it's sad to say that we don't know the severity of something until Broadway shuts down. That's like our gauge, and the gauge that we live in our own small little world, that, once we knew that Broadway shut down, we were like, oh my God, this is something that's like really serious. And so it's been interesting having the reminder that we are a part of a bigger world, because we get so caught up in our own small little Broadway world, our own small little dance world, arts world, that we forget that we are a part of this just global society where, that sometimes we just get so caught up. So the biggest thing for me is reconnecting as a human being, reconnecting with the human side of me. One of the best things that I was ever taught by Jason McDowell at Point Park was that I'm a human first and an artist second. And sometimes you just lose that part of yourself. So I've been mostly taking the time to reconnect with the human side of me, reconnect with my spiritual toolkit is what I like to call it. The thing that keeps me grounded, rebuilding that, because the state that we're going to go into when it comes to the industry as a whole is going to be completely different, which is a beautiful thing. I think everybody should be excited about the renaissance that's about to happen, but that renaissance is going to require a very different part of us as artists and as human beings than what we had before. So I've been mostly working on that, and falling back in love with dance as well, because sometimes when it becomes your job and you have a successful career, you're surrounded by these people that have that once in a lifetime chance, you just forget about the work. You forget about the passion. You forget about the grit that it took to get there. And so it's just like getting back to ground zero. And I try to encourage everybody that I know this time is challenging, but if you can just try to use it to get back to ground zero, back to the passion, back before it meant nothing to you to make $5 to do this thing that you do. When you come back into that renaissance, oh my gosh, everybody's going to come back on fire. Everybody's going to come back like performing like you were when you got your first buy-in performance at Point Park. I mean, like that type of excitement is what I'm excited to feel again. But while I do that, and in being open and welcoming to the newness that's gonna happen post-pandemic, I have to make sure that I'm preparing myself spiritually to be open to whatever the change is gonna be, because it's gonna be different. So that's where I am with it.
And I had a very similar experience to that, because when the pandemic was hitting as well, I was in the middle of an understudy rehearsal. And that's when we were reading these articles on our phones, like while we're backstage, of like, okay, the Broadway League's saying this. And we're like, we knew if the Broadway League was going to announce something, we were following suit right after. So we did our put in that day. And then that night our show was canceled. And at first, like, you have this, we've been on tour for 9 months already. So we had this thing like a weekend off of shows. I hadn't had a Friday night free in 9 months. So I was like, wow, they were telling us 2 weeks. We were like, at first we were like, this is so nice. We get to go home and go to bed. And so we were enjoying it. We were like, we had the whole weekend canceled and that was it. We thought we were going to keep going. And then when they were flying us back to New York, that's when it really hit us. And we were like, it was a moment of like, wow, when they say dance every moment like it's your last, because it could be, that was the first moment where I finally felt that, because we didn't know that was going to be our last performance. And the one before we left, and it was a really hard thing to deal with at first. And I think like the first month just kind of took time for myself and like rested and didn't really do much. And it's taken some time to get back into it because it's so much different. What I miss so much is like being in a space with people, dancing around other people is so much about what has drawn me to this art, is the community and that energy with other people. So I agree. I've taken a lot more time to like work on myself, connect with family that I barely get to see my family, and I've spent so much time with them, which has been such a wonderful thing. And again, like using those things like Broadway and dance, it's not going to go away. We're going to come back better and stronger than ever, because that's the kind of people that are in this industry. They're resilient, they have grit, and they want it. And so, yeah, taking time to focus on myself and those kind of human things I need first, so that when these doors open back up, we're ready and we're going to come out stronger than ever with the fire under our butts for sure. So I'm excited as well to see, and I think I'll have a newfound like love and appreciation for it too, because it does get mundane when it's your job. You sometimes do think of it as a job, as sad as that feels. But I think it will be like a re-inspiration is going to come out of all of this.
Fantastic. So with what's going on now, what is your favorite way, and certainly before now, what is your favorite way to take care of yourself? What is your favorite way to self-care? That's one of the questions from the viewers. How do you practice self-preservation?
So my ritual in the morning, and this actually took me a really long time to hone in, just because we're so used to having a schedule, that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the first time that I have to create my own schedule, especially when you're like a dance captain or assistant, you're like always in the theater constantly. So I had a hard time figuring out what you just asked, Garfield. But what I've learned is knowledge is power. I wake up, I read a book that connects with my spirit and my own spiritual growth. And then I would do a 30-minute yoga. Doesn't have to be, I have to show out. No, it's just mobilate like the joints and just waking them up, just like, hello, I love you, and you're still awake, can we still function? And I work on like core things of that I want to, like I want to dive into more acting. So I've been doing some acting exercises or vocal exercises just to keep myself not ready, but during this time, I focus on what do I actually want to do with my own time, with my own art. What do I want to say? I have this, for the first time, for a long time, I've been helping a lot of creators create their own vision and their own art. For the first time, I have time to create what I would like to do. So it's just formulating, those are the things that I do. And some days it's just sitting down and having some tea with my mom and breathing and talking to my mentor. But my ritual would be to pick up a book and read, and do like a 30-minute yoga. That's definitely have been like my consistent, just so I don't lose a lot of, my flexibility. But yeah, just very gentle, nothing super crazy. Sometimes I'll do like a ballet bar, because right now I moved out of New York City just because it didn't make sense for me to be in New York. New York is a little bit crazy right now with everything happening where I lived in Harlem. So I moved back to Jersey. So my space is a little bit limited, but I will do a ballet bar if I feel like moving, but also waking up and understanding what do I need today? Because every day is so different. So I don't want to, a lot of the time I was like, oh, I need to do this. And then my body was getting angry because I wasn't doing what it was asking. So one day I could do, okay, I'm gonna do yoga. Next day I'm like, okay, let me do this core, Jenna Sakurado teaches this thing. And I'm like, okay, I could do it. And then the next day I'm like, oh, I need to just chill out and maybe take a swim or something, So just asking myself in the morning, what do I need, and taking it from there. That's what I feel like has worked for me during this time.
What about you, Hunter?
So I've been focusing on just being, finding out who I am outside of being an artist and being a performer, because I feel like, the last 8 years, through high school and then through college, and then after, we get in this like tunnel where we're working, and like that becomes like all that we are. And I think it's very easy to do that because you're constantly like going to the next thing, constantly working towards the next thing, like achieving the next show, like booking the next thing, whatever it is. But I've been focusing on like training my puppy and just going on a walk and like photography and other interests that fulfill me in a different way and that allow me to be a much more full human being. And like Cassie said, like it will come back, and like when it comes back, we are going to be so grateful. And that is just gonna, like, I can't imagine what that's going to feel like when we're able to do that again. Like when I think about that, oh, that is just like, it feels so good. But for right now, in terms of self-care, so I don't, like doom scroll and like read through the news all the time, or just like spiral about how I think, oh gosh, I'm never gonna work again, like that kind of thing. I think focusing on those things has kept me more mentally healthy, because I mean, everything that we've been working on was pulled out from underneath us, like everything for everyone. And that was hard. And that for like, like the first month I was like really upset and really kind of lost about like what I should do. Should I be dancing in my tiny, like bonus room upstairs? Is it really worth it? Is it really doing anything? Am I growing? I, try to do a workout every now and again. But I also don't put that much pressure on myself. So I think that's important too.
Yeah, it's interesting because, as you mentioned before, all of you actually have mentioned before, that this world that you exist in, it's always go, 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 go. And rarely did you have the opportunity to pause and train your puppy, and you know, take care of yourself. So if anything, we can look at this as it brings out some positives, which is it gives an opportunity to reflect. What have been missing from our lives? What have we been ignoring while we're always on the go? And so by taking this opportunity to reflect, I think it helps us to prepare for what's to come, because we're actually reconnecting with ourselves again. So though there have been some obvious negatives and some unfortunate circumstances, I think this certainly gives an opportunity to turn inward and reflect and connect, as you said before, connect with community and connect with others. That's so important, and that fuels your creativity and your artistry, and that in essence gives that resilience that you spoke of, Jennifer and Shanika, that resilience to be able to bounce back and be a better version of yourselves, and I look forward to that as well from each of you. So with that said, let's back up pre-COVID. Many of our dancers want to know, how did you land this job? How do you prepare for an audition? Was it always your goal to be on Broadway? So walk us through those steps. Did you always want to be a Broadway performer? And how do you get that job? How do you succeed in these auditions?
You know something that's so funny? I did not want, okay, so when Bring It On the musical was auditioning, my dance teachers from back home in Atlanta saw the show at the Alliance Theater. They thought it was an incredible show. They knew I wanted to work right out of school. And at the time, you know, certain companies that I wasn't interested in didn't offer any contracts. So that's the thing that people also forget about. It's like, if a company isn't offering any contracts, if they don't, you know, have money to bring in new dancers, or they're not looking for your type or whatever, so have it, you know, you want to create other opportunities for yourself. And they were like, they knew I could sing, and they were like, you should go to the audition. I was like, musical theater people are not my jam. They are not my kind of people. They are crazy. I went to school with them. No. Okay. Long story short, I go to the audition, having no clue, very green to this musical theater world, couldn't read music, none of the above. I think I took a few private voice at Point Park. I did do the voice for dancers, and I'm glad that my friend Brittany Bone, who was another Point Park grad doing amazing things, I think she was on American Paris with you. She encouraged me to take the voice for dancers class, and I'm glad that she did, because I was able to have 2 songs in my repertoire to be able to do the audition with, to at least be able to go to the audition with. And these people took a chance on me, because one thing about me is that whenever I walk into the room, whether I want to be there or not, I'm present. I'm always going to show up. I'm always going to be present, because I'm a representation of myself. And I'm never gonna, you know, you don't know what this casting director is doing at the time. And so they gave me the job. And when I went on the tour, I realized that they were my kind of people. They reminded me to have fun. They reminded me, because I was so serious, you know, when I was studying concert dance at Point Park, I just was so zoned in that sometimes you forget that this thing we do is fun. And they know how to advocate for themselves. And I really admired that about them, that I ended up falling in love with doing all 3 things at one time. And I say that I didn't want to do musical theater, but I found an old Point Park interview clip of me for either student choreography project or something that I did. And apparently I said, you know, maybe one day I'll do Broadway. So I guess somewhere in the back of my mind, my and the universe knew that I wanted to do Broadway. But you know, I say that to say, just stay open, you know, and don't limit yourself. Like, really stay open, because you just never know where your journey is going to take you. And you can try everything once. You try it, you don't like it, move on to something else. You're young. Like, this is the time for you to just jump in and dive in and see what's out there, because the dance industry on every level, commercial, concert, Broadway, is changing. And what they're requiring of you and what they're wanting out of artistry is changing. So there's no point in going into it closed-minded the way that I did. My dance teachers made me go to that audition. Thank the Lord they made me go to that audition. But yeah, to answer your question, I did not want to do this at first because I just didn't think that I was going to connect with the people. But I ended up really connecting with them and loving it, and loving the Broadway community is so, I mean, they are just so warm, so welcoming, and some of the most talented and incredible people that you would ever meet. So yeah, that's my jam. But preparation for audition, go ahead and get that skill together now. Go ahead and create a routine for yourself now. What is your warm-up ritual? How do you not just warm up your body, but how do you, warm up your mind? Because your mind is going to need to be working when you're in a room full of 30, 40, 60, 100 other people moving around in space, trying to understand what a choreographer wants of you. And do your research. That is one thing that I feel like not enough people do. They don't know what they're going in for. They don't know who they're going in for. They don't even know what's really going on into the room until they get into the room. But you have Google, you have the internet, do your research, understand what it is you're walking into so that you can be that much more confident before you go in. If I have an understanding that, oh, this person choreographed so on and so forth, so probably the style of dance we're going to be doing is maybe going to be around that. I should wear this, I should do this, that sort of a thing. And dancers take voice. You never know when you're gonna need a good 16 bar, baby. You might just have to bust it out. So take voice, get it in your back pocket, whether you use it or not, you never know. But anyways.
Oh, that's great. That's a that's a whole lot of information, a lot of skills for us to share with those students. And those of you who are watching right now, make sure that you have a notepad, because I'm here taking notes. So you need to be taking notes as well, because the information and the knowledge that they're going to share with you today will last you, and it's certainly going to prepare you for the professional world. So tell us some more. What else can we do? What else can these dancers do to prepare themselves for an audition? How did you land that gig? And how did you know that that was the one for you?
I have a very similar experience too. I think Point Park, like as a dancer at Point Park, we're so like focused on like concert dance. I never even thought of Broadway ever being at Point Park. The only time I ever thought of it, I remember Ron Tassone, bless his heart, looked at me in the face and he said, "Oh, sweetheart, you have the face for Broadway. You better get the voice to match it." And at that time, I was like, I didn't sing a drop. And I was like, Ron, like, come on. And I was just like, I'm not going to do Broadway, blah, blah, blah. But here I am doing, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. The thing that I would say is a Broadway audition is a different beast than any other kind of audition. Most auditions, you go in the concert world, you go in, you do your ballet class, and then maybe if you get kept past ballet, you go into some rep and you do that, and it's like a long process. Broadway, you have about, most times, 40 minutes, maybe 50. You learn a quick little phrase and you're in front of them in a group of 3 before you even know what the phrase is. So learn how to pick up choreography quickly. Make sure you know what kind of headshot to bring in. Again, know your type, know what kind of headshot you're bringing in, know that you're singing the right song that is good for your voice. You don't have to do anything crazy, especially if you're auditioning for an ensemble. Be clean, work with a coach that's going to get you some good cuts, but like you want to make sure you're presenting yourself in the best way, and know that not every job's going to be right for you, and that's okay. Go for the ones that you resonate with you and you think will fit with what you like, first of all, and with who they will like you back too. Like, I'm not going to go in and try to be a rockette. I'm 5'3", and that's okay. It's like super cool, but you have to be okay and be resilient in that fact of knowing, like, I'm not right for this kind of job, so I'm just going to be okay if they caught me that day. It's like bouncing back is a part of the game too, and just being prepared, being professional, and making a good name for yourself, being nice, showing up on time, anytime you get a job, do it the right way. you go in there, you give your all always, because those are the people that are going to keep you in this industry. And those are the people that are going to be like, I can't even tell you how many times that people get jobs just from not even auditioning, just someone being like, oh, you need a dancer, this person would be great for it. So it's like, we prepare so much for the audition. You have to prepare to be a good person and a good person to work with in the room. You want to be the person that they're like, oh, I want that person in the room with me, because I know that they're gonna bring a good energy and do the job well, and they're gonna, it's a lot of these times you spend more time in the studio or on stage or on tour than with your castmates than you do with your friends and your family. So you have to make sure you're surrounding yourself with good people. And that's what I would say. Be a good person that people want to work with. That's more important than nailing the audition, because once you build a reputation for yourself and you're professional and responsible and talented, of course, you have to have the skill to back it up, you'll keep working. And though it's the connections and those are the people that keep you going in this industry. It's the people around you and the network of people you're making at Point Park. So many friends from Point Park have been some of the people who have gotten me jobs too. So that's what I would say. The auditions are important, but being a good person and someone people want to work with is the most important.
Need I say anything else? Like, that is it. That is so good. I would say, like, just start singing now. I was so scared to sing. Oh my God, I think it was my junior year or senior year that I started singing for dancers. Terrified, had never sung before. But once you get it out, once you get those like, like those screechy things out the first couple times, then you start learning and you're like, oh wait, I can do this. And so then you show up to the audition with your 16 bar cut and you're like, yes, I got this. You want me to sing? Sure. You want me to sing 32 bars? Great, I got it. So yeah, it's being prepared. It's get 2 songs. I think, and also just kind of piggybacking off of the reputation thing, like your reputation precedes you a lot. So just be nice and like be great to work with and do your best work. It has happened to me so many times where I had a job and then someone that I worked with or worked for at that job helped me move into a position at a different job. And that, I mean, like Cassie was saying, that's just how it works. And just being the kind of person that they want to have in a room, you know, all day long, trying new things, being someone that they can rely on. Like, if you can learn how to swing, like that's an amazing skill. I know, Jennifer, you were a swing, right? On your feet?
Yeah, it was a swing for both On Your Feet and Moulin Rouge.
Yes. So definitely like think about, if that's something that you want to do, think about now, maybe like in the back of your mind, be like, could I do that? Yeah. And like looking at that track, oh yeah, I could do that too. And just being organized and yeah, you guys pretty much hit the nail on the head. But yeah, I think that's what I would say. Yeah.
Can I add a little bit?
Jump right in.
It has little to do with talent and a lot to do with effort. Because if you're in the room, you're talented, right? Like you're in the room, they want to see you. Like me being dance captain for Moulin Rouge, I had to be in the other side teaching the combination. And we want everyone, like when I was in that, like there, I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is what's happening. Everyone wants you to succeed. So everyone wants you to do so great in the audition, right? And you just want to be, like Shanika said, present, show your personality. Like Cassie said, you want to be a good person with an amazing energy. And that happens immediately when you walk in a room, how you place everything. Everyone is watching at all times. And how you interact with people. And when you go into a Broadway, for example, you have your 16 bars. I would have a ballad ready and a pop rock soulful song. You will walk in, and if you're doing a vocal, you give the tempo of how fast the beat you want to the musician, the accompanist to play for, and then just sing. And I would sing every day. Like, you know, right now, especially during COVID, it's really expensive. Some people, you know, if you need recommendations and like, you know, people that doesn't charge as much, let me know. But I would sing every day in the shower. My favorite song, if you know, that song from Lauryn Hill, that's my song. You know, all those words, you feel comfortable. That would be my 16 bar because it's within you. And always just show you. Like, the minute that you're just like, oh, I need to be serious, that's the minute that we don't know who you are. You know, they don't get to know who you are as a person, and that's really what sets you apart from everybody else, right? And a lot of like, if you're doing a new show, a lot of it is built because of your personality, right? So if you don't show that, then we don't know who or what's to work with or anything. So just be present, share, nothing to prove, everything to share and nothing to prove. You don't have to prove nothing to anybody, right? Like, your validation, you are so fabulous because you just walked in the room and you made a decision to show up for yourself for this opportunity, right? So you have nothing to prove to anyone, but let me share you the joy that I have doing this, and let me share what I could bring into a room and what I could bring to you, what I could add to your community, right? So I think that's really just be you. And it, you know, and don't be like crazy, right? Because, you know, I'm crazy. I'm like, you know, like not professional, for sure, professional, but show that bubbly personality. If you mess up or something, be strong and wrong than timid and I messed up. No, hey, well, maybe it should have been this way. You know, like, be committed to who you are, and a lot of people love that, because they don't have to try to take it out of you or pull out of you. They have so much substance to work with. So yeah, just being present. That, like Shanika right there, she hit that right there, because me in a room and me being in an audition room and me being in the other side as well, everyone knows when someone is not. And I've had moments when I had terrible auditions. I was like, I was not in my game because I wasn't present, because I was worrying about somebody else or what I needed to, or what I didn't get, I wasn't there, you know? So always be present, always nothing to prove, everything to share, because if you're there, you're talented. That's all.
This is such great information, and I stopped writing because I couldn't keep up. But this is a wonderful idea about being present and remaining true to self. Because you know that our industry is so challenging because of the mental health issues that dancers and artists have to deal with. And so how do you motivate yourself when you're going through those tough moments, those days when you're not feeling quite on, you're not feeling quite yourself? How do you motivate yourself to go into that room and do what's expected of you by being present, having that bubbly personality, pretend that everything is great? How do you overcome those mental challenges when they happen?
One thing that I would say is, while you're in school, create your why. You need to create your why, because if that why is what keeps me motivated, what keeps me grounded, what keeps me pushing, even when I just really don't want to. And I can share it with you, my why. My why is because I know that it's important for another little Black girl to see me doing what I do. I make my why very selfless, because it takes so much weight off. And, you know, when you're willing to give something for someone else, you're just more apt to be like, okay, I got to do this. And every time I've done that, I have seen a little Black girl in the audience, or, you know, Or I do meet other girls, they'll message me on social media and be like, oh, I saw you in such and such. What's that like? Especially because a lot of the shows I've done, I've been the quote unquote unfortunate term token. So I don't take that lightly. And that's my why. But you have to decide while you're on, while you're in school, while you're on this journey and figuring out what your artist identity is. Part of that is creating that why. That's what I always go back to keep me motivated, and understanding that this is a gift and a privilege of what it is that we get to do. And there's so many people that wish that they could do what we do, even just simply moving. That's a blessing, and you can't take that lightly. And sometimes we take it for granted. But those are the types of things that I do to kind of like push through that mental health space. That's why I say, like, creating that spiritual toolkit before you get into this business is just as important as training, because you need those tools I'm telling you, you are going to need those tools before you get out here. And I didn't get mine until my junior year of Point Park. I had a nervous breakdown at school, and I was probably, I would say, anybody that knew me, like my junior year, I was at the top of my game. That was probably some of the best dancing I've ever done. My body looked the best. Everything was on, but mentally, not right. Not right. Spirit gone, because I was taking care of my training and my dancer self, and I was not filling up my spiritual toolkit. And it was that statement, Jason McDowell pulled me to the side, and he could see it in me that I had kind of lost that. And he told me, human first, artist second. You have to make sure that you're taking care of that part of you. And you're so right, Garfield. It is just something that is just not talked about enough. And you guys' generation of college students, you go through it even more, because you guys have the social media, and you have all of that type of stuff. And I encourage you that the first 30 minutes you wake up, just don't even look at it. Don't even look at it. It is a false sense of reality, and we understand that we need it for our industry, but use it for saying this is me, but don't take it with a grain of salt of the other things that you're seeing everyone else doing, because we're all just playing the game because we have to, but that's my advice as far as your mental and spiritual health. So important. It's the thing that keeps you going.
Fantastic.
Piggyback with Shanika, the why is very, very, very important, like mind, body, spirit. And when it gets to a point when it's difficult to connect to your why, because sometimes when you're in this audition room and you're just like, it's hard sometimes. You don't have like a beat, take a beat, go to the bathroom, collect yourself, come back in the room. And the thing that I do, the trick that I do, is I feel everything that I'm doing. To the tendu, to the releve, to my plie going up, to the carving in space. If I can't figure out, if my mind is like, I can't, I'm like, okay, what can I do? What can I get control over? I can't grasp my mind, but at least the person in the other side is seeing me working, internalizing, and trying to fight through what's happening, right? So that's like in the most of like, I don't know, I can't gather it. I think that's a trick that I learned, that I'm like, okay, am I really focused on my relevant? Am I carving through space? Am I looking at where I'm going? And am I looking at the person right next to me? Where am I, where is my intention when I can't gather it? But definitely before I walk in an audition, I definitely take those moments of just like focus and say what your ritual is with yourself, whether it's a prayer, whether it's, thank you for giving me today to be in this audition room and having the body and the ability to do it. And this is where I am today. And this is what I'm able to showcase. But I know that if I can't grasp it, because I've known I've been in auditions where your mind just gets very fogged. I go back and like, okay, let me just feel this plie then. If I can't grasp anything, let me just feel the momentum of my chewing of the floor, and it like calms my mind, and then it gets easier throughout the audition. But that's just something, if it's like you don't have a beat to get for yourself, that's something that I learned throughout the audition process.
Something that I try to remind myself too, and this goes back to the why as well, is I started dancing because it was fun and it was something that fueled my soul. And it was a way of me expressing myself as a young girl. When I didn't understand how to put my emotions into words, you danced. And I think that what I realized, the thing that's been best for me, and it's going to be different for everyone, is I take my job and dancing very seriously in the fact of like, I want to do my best, but I don't take it so seriously in the fact that I remind myself I'm just dancing. Like, we're here to touch people and to express our emotions and to entertain people. It's just dancing at the end of the day. Like, most of the time when people are just dancing in life, they're just feeling it and dancing. And that's what I try to remind myself every day. It's like, I'm not saving lives here. I'm saving lives in a different way of like, of giving people a different perspective and like giving people art and that, but I'm not doing open heart surgery. So I try to remind myself that sometimes it's like we take this so seriously and we get so frustrated with ourselves, but at the end of the day, it's dancing, and it's you should take it seriously in the fact that you want to show up and be present and do your best every day, but don't take it so seriously that you can't laugh at yourself. And if you completely bomb an audition, the best thing I do is I go next to the bar next door with my friend, and we talk about it, and we're like, oh my God, did you see me do that? And then it makes it life. It's a part of your life, and you can go in and out of things, and you can have your best day and you can have your worst day, but it all just culminates into your life, so you want to enjoy it. And then another thing I do when you have to push through physically is I remind myself that if you have an 8-show week, every person in the audience, for the most part, unless they're like a crazy fan, that's their first time seeing that show. So they deserve to see your best. They don't deserve to see you on a Sunday matinee as tired as you can be. So every time I'm on stage, I give my 150% of that day, because I'm like, whoever is the person in the audience, I don't want them being like, oh, that girl's tired today. I want to make sure that they are experiencing the same magic that I want, that the person the day before got to see. So it's like, it does become a job in the fact of like, this is my job. I'm going to show up and do my job to my fullest. And then also reminding to give yourself grace and that you're human. And some days you're just not going to be there. And you got to let it go. You got to let it go, and you got to move on to the next thing. And that's life. And sometimes it's going to be bad. And sometimes you're going to fall on stage, and you know what, those are the memories that you remember too. And I mean, you have to be connected, and you have to love it. You have to love it to do this job. You have to love it, and you have to want more than just being a dancer. You have to want it to be something greater than that, but you also have to always enjoy it, or else you're just it won't work out.
Okay, two things. There are always going to be no's. Like, for every yes, there's like 1,000 no's. There are 1,000 auditions that go horribly wrong. You squeak during your song, you fall flat on your face during an audition. But when that yes finally happens, it is just the sweetest feeling, because you have accomplished that. And I think we should all go in expecting that you're gonna have a lot of no's. Like, it's probably not going to happen, right off the bat. Some people are very lucky and very talented and, are able to do that. But like, I can't tell you how many auditions I went to where I was left and I was like, oh, that was rough. Like, why did I even go? Why am I doing this? But when that moment finally happens, when you get that callback, when you get that final callback, when you get that job, that feeling, it's like, yes, like that's what the work was for, and that was what showing up was for. And then my second thing is that I try we're trying to live in gratitude just constantly, right? So taking stock of how incredible is it that we are able to do this? How incredible is it that we have this body? How incredible is it that we get to perform for a living? Like, I mean, when you just take it out of context and just look at that statement, we get to perform for a living and make money and have fun. And, you know, like you guys said, it's just dancing at the end of the day. And we can celebrate that and we can be grateful for that. And that reminds me every time that I'm feeling a little like, oh man, like I haven't had a job in 4 months, or like, where are the auditions, or I'm not, I thought I did well on that, but it, you know, I didn't get a call back. Or when you get down on yourself, it's always a great idea to write down, I like to keep a journal, write down great things that are happening. Like, you may have like did not so great at the dance part, but if you sang your 16 bars and you were like, I rocked that, like that is a step in the right direction. And that took kind of a long time for me to figure out, because with my experience at Point Park, I'm not gonna lie, I had a great experience at Point Park. I was always cast. I was able to do like the ballet pieces and the jazz pieces, and so things came very easily for me in, you know, my high school training and also into Point Park, and I was very blessed and very thankful for that. And then when I got out, it was like not everything happened so quickly. And so then there's that like, oh wait, am I not good? Or like you start doubting yourself and your art and your worth and your talent and all that kind of stuff. So I would say it's so important to stop and take stock of the really amazing things that you're doing.
Those are great. Those are really great advice for anyone who's listening. And some of the things that I heard from that, you know, creating your whys and remembering why you're doing this in the first place. What was it about dance that drew you to that profession in the first place? And the artistry of it all is remembering your childish innocence, right? So that you can enjoy and have fun. And something that you said, Cassie, which is so important, is, and certainly Hunter as well, let it go. This instant forgiveness. So you mess up, so you bombed it, instant forgiveness and let it go, because all that, if you carry that on, it's compacted every day, that negativity weighs on your mental health. And when we think of mental health, we really think about what you've been called, what you were told you look like when you wear certain things. But the other components, the other things that you're talking about, really adds layers to the mental health stuff. So when we think of mental health, we have to think about it in a bit larger context, because how we feel about ourselves, not necessarily what we physically look like, but how we participated in a particular environment while we were there really affects our mental health as well. So I love this instant forgiveness, let it go, and you can laugh about it and jump right back in the saddles and you know, and keep riding. Really solid advice. Thank you all for that. So obviously we were in quarantine happened. You talked about how you took care of your soul. You talked about how you took care of your mental health and the motivation to keep going. Let's talk a little bit more about the physical. How did you keep your body right? How did you keep your body going during quarantine? Did you take technique classes via Zoom? Or what did you do for your physical conditioning?
I'll start here because something that has been really actually amazing for me is on the side, when I'm in New York, on the side, I also teach fitness. And so it's something that gives me that same kind of endorphins and feeling of physicality as dancing, but it's so much more forgiving than dancing. So it's been a wonderful thing for me because I can feel like when I do a fitness class, I get my sweat on, I get that same kind of like exhaustion that you get from dancing, but you're not as hard on yourself because you're like, I could do a squat. Like if I could do a ballet class, I could do a squat. So that's something that I found during quarantine is I have taken as many dance classes as possible, but there's only so many times you can kick your couch or like try to do a pirouette on carpet before you're like, this is not going to happen. And so I've gotten more into fitness as like, I teach a lot of fitness classes and I take a lot of fitness classes so that I can, first of all, it's a great money maker for a side gig. And if you need some sort of like side hustle. Second of all, it's something that's like, it gives me that same kind of satisfaction as that exhaustion as dancing, but I'm not as hard on myself with it. So that's been something that's been a pretty steady thing, and you don't need as much space. Of course, every time I try to take an online dance class, it's difficult because I'm like, I just want to be in the room with my friends and with the teacher and feeling inspired. And I'm just allowing myself to be like, you know what? That's okay that it doesn't resonate with me right now. I'll get back into it. I take here and there, but I mean, I'm not dancing every day like I'm used to, but I'm allowing myself to be like, that's okay. I've danced every day since I was 2 years old. Now is a global pandemic. It's okay to be like, I can go a month or so without taking a dance class. I'm still staying active, finding other ways to connect with my body and stay in shape and stay grounded. But dancing, like I said, it's going to be there. My technique may be slightly rusty, but you got muscle memory. We've been doing this for years. You're going to get back into it. And when it comes back, it'll be hot and heavy, and we'll probably be wishing for these days when we were just sitting on our couch. So just giving yourself grace and giving yourself time to be like, I want to stay fit. I want to stay active. That's important to me and my mental health, but I don't need to be training the same way I would be if it wasn't a global pandemic. So
100%. I'm like, okay, we're in a pandemic. You're stuck in your house. You cannot be expected to do, a Keisha across the floor, in your like upstairs loft or in your kitchen, you know what I mean? Like, so I just, I try to run every now and again. I'm exploring that. I'm exploring yoga, stretching, because, these hips are very tight. So sometimes we just, sit in a stretch and a nice straddle, just kind of relax there. But I'm not putting too much stress on myself right now. Now, say the week that we go back, whenever that is, listen, everyone's going to be a mess. Like that first week is going to be rough. Everyone's going to be like, don't look at me. Don't watch me. Just let me do my thing. It's going to be so hard and so like humbling and embarrassing. But then after that, hey, we'll get over it. And then we'll get back to doing our thing and rocking it out. But I mean, I personally am not putting too much stress on it, other than just doing what feels good and what allows me to feel like, hey, I'm not just a blob like sitting there, but if you want to be, that's okay too. Yeah, like Cassie said, we've been doing this for so long, we'll be able to come back.
With me, it's like a balance. At first, in the beginning of pandemic, this is the first time since Point Park, I feel like I've had a beat to just sit. So for the first month, I didn't really do anything. But then my body started to hurt because I was so used to, and like my injury started to settle down because we were doing 8 shows a week, and you don't get to allow yourself to heal. So during this time now, I've been doing a lot of maintenance work, as in doing my physical therapy, getting my hip strengthened just from kicking the right side, and you have to show the left side some love, and been taking sometimes gyrokinesis or or floor bar, because you don't feel like you're doing so much and it's on the floor and it's just there, and great YouTube videos, or sometimes 30-minute yoga, yin yoga. It's because sometimes we don't want to complicate our minds because we're so used to not doing so much that it feels overwhelming when you're like throwing yourself with a lot of dance. But I do feel, yes, we're gonna be rusty and we're gonna be ready, but I've been slowly bringing back some sort of routine for my body, because I know that when I come back to work, because I do have a date of when I come back to work, well, potentially, because I might alter, it might change, I'm expected to be in a certain level, you know? So I think it's a balance. Maybe your Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, family time. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, let me incorporate something as either a ballet bar or some sort of yoga or rehab. For me, a lot was rehabilitation, because our bodies, 8 shows a week, it's a lot of muscle, it's a lot of tear, it's a lot of wear and tear of doing, you know. But I think it's also important to find some sort of routine, especially for you guys, to keep on just building that strength, even if it's like, let me build my strength with meditation. There's physical meditation. There's Tai Chi, which is not something, I know it's like, what? But it really does, it does keep you warm and get that core and that center still active. So I do encourage some sort of, even if it's 30 minutes, if it's not like, you know, just, or even Cassie, hey, take Cassie's class. I'm like, yes, I need to get on that. I need to hop on that. She's amazing at doing that. But it builds strengths. A lot of cross training is important as well, because you don't know what kind of, especially for Broadway, you don't know what you're doing. Sometimes you're doing pirouettes and heels and doing crazy things that you have to like have certain strength in different muscles than you normally wouldn't need or have to have in ballet, which is, you know, or sometimes it's a lot of quads because you're on the floor and you're running. Sometimes it's hip hop, like this hip hop musical, I was in a sneaker on Broadway. Like that never happened. So it was a lot of twitch, a lot of like moving with my knees that I wasn't really used to, doing a lot of more contemporary style of dance. But I do encourage some sort of mobilization, at least 30 minutes out of the day, so your body doesn't get shocked and your nervous system doesn't like kind of like go down of like, what is happening? Or rolling out, or sending some love in your feet and massaging your feet and like waking up. I think it's all a balance. For sure, take the time to breathe and sit in stillness, but you can still find those moments with maintaining some sort of ritual for your body, because we're professionals and we're dancers and we're artists, and a lot of us right now I'm teaching, so I'm like, oh my God, I haven't done this in a long time. So now I'm like, okay, I gotta get it together, right? This Arabesque line, because I'm teaching them how to do, right? So just finding those moments where you can incorporate that in your daily routine, I think is important. So you don't have to feel like you have so much work to do when we do arrive in the moment, when we do open. But it's no pressure either. It's like a balance. It's a balance, really. But yeah.
What about you, Shanika?
Well, you know, I'm building a human being, so my routine has had to change, okay? But it's been interesting. It's been an interesting change because, like she said, I am a dancer who wants to go back to work after I have my baby. So, you know, yes, the lesson I've been learning through pregnancy as a dancer is to listen to my body, to know when too much is too much, to know when it's saying, okay, we need some core stability today. We need to lubricate the hips today. We need to, like, it's been a lot of that, listening to my body, because, you know, Garfield, I'm a hard worker. If I'm going into the studio, we coming out sweating, you know, that's just my style. I need to be working top to bottom hard. And I just can't do that, you know, building this baby. So it's been me learning to listen to my body and not pushing it past its limit, but still, like Jen said, doing enough to create some sort of routine so that it doesn't go into shock when I want to, you know, kind of come back into things. But I've been doing a lot of bar sculpt classes, a lot of fitness classes, Cassie. So I've been getting more into the fitness classes because just like you said, it's something about even the way that the fitness instructors speak to you that I need that type of motivation right now. That's a little different than what you get from the virtual dance classes. I danced a lot during my first trimester. There were a lot of choreographers who needed inspiration as well that were given a lot of like, you know, just a lot of open class. And even that was fun, seeing them go back to teaching like Andy Blankenbuehler, seeing them go back to teaching style as opposed to always seeing them as a choreographer was really interesting to be a part of even that journey for them. So it's like even they've had to recalibrate their minds and their routine, you know, to adjust to the times from creating to teaching. And I've been teaching a lot, but I would say the thing that's been helping me a lot is the bar sculpt classes. Because that it's that core stability for me with what it is that I'm going through. You know, building this human being and testing out what my body can do. You know, that's been fun as well. Like, oh, can I still take jazz? Can I still do a little hip hop with this belly? You know, I'm like teaching Hamilton master classes with this big belly, and everybody's like, what is happening? You know, but it's been interesting to try to see, you know, like, what is it that my body can do? It's my first pregnancy. I've never been pregnant before. So, but I also know, like Jen said, I'm going to want to come back, and I'm going to want to come back strong, and I'm going to want my body to not go into shock. So I know that I have to keep it moving, even if it's 20 minutes, 30, you know, 30 minutes. And right now we have so much YouTube, so much good. I'm talking, I take mini ballet with this Australian lady on YouTube. She's amazing. She's amazing. Her name is Lazy Dancer Tips is what it's called, but ain't nothing lazy about the lady class, y'all. She gets it in, okay? Lazy Dancer Tips if you just need a little pick me up, but she has like 20-minute bar classes, you know, something simple like that, just to get things moving and remind the body, okay, this is, you know, this is how we do these things. But that's what I've been doing. That's why I was like, let me just shut up and listen to what they've been doing, because I got a whole human inside of me. I ain't doing nothing.
But that's great, though. It's a different perspective, you know, because we assume that everyone is able to do the regular thing, but other people have other things going on as well that we need to consider. And certainly someone along the way will have a family and will work on Broadway. And what do they do if they're working on their family and they still have to get ready to go back to performing in a few months? So still valid, Shanika, congratulations.
Thank you. You know what, and we have a lot of examples. I love that you said that, and that you said it with such warmth, because, you know, for so long, the stigma on like being a performing mom or dancers becoming mom has been such a thing. But there are so many examples, especially on Broadway and in the ballet world now. Like Ingrid just announced her pregnancy too. If you follow her, beautiful dancer with Dance Theater of Harlem, she's pregnant also. But it's just like, now it's becoming something that is a part of the norm, and it's possible to be a performer and still have a family, and the community supports you. There's an incredible Broadway mom community that have told me about like Bloom Method and Bar Scope. That's how I know what to do with my body, because these women have taken me under their wing and said, oh, go to this YouTube page or go to this Instagram page and follow this person. And, you know, oh, this person teaches this class. This is how I found out about these things, because these community of dancers are supporting you, you know, through this journey, because they've been there. They've had to jump back on stage. I know some women that didn't even come off the stage till they were like 5-6 months pregnant. Wow. So if the costume designer can, you know, redo some things, which they do, you know, people have still done it. If your partner doesn't feel like you're too heavy to lift over their head, people have still done it. So, you know, I'm so glad that you said that with warmth. That was very lovely, Garfield.
Well, I think it's important. I think, you know, we always think of dancers in particular as superhumans, and we have a one-track mind of what a dancer's supposed to look like and supposed to be. But we are realizing that the dance world has expanded to be so inclusive and is continuing to be expanded about inclusivity and diversity. And I think it's so important because, as you say, going back, well, when this thing lifts and we move on into the future, it's hard to predict what it's going to look like. So it's important for us to be more open and accepting of different ways and different things. So we really, guys, we've been chatting for a while, and we have about 7 minutes left, and there are 2 questions waiting to be answered. So we're going to roll through these questions really quickly. We don't, all of you don't have to answer them, but let's see who's going to shout out and answer really quickly. The first one is, could you talk a little bit about what lessons you learned most here at Point Park? We're circling back. And from what instructor, from which instructor? What lessons did you learn most here at Point Park, and from what instructor?
Actually, I've learned this from you, Garfield.
Oh.
I remember one day I was late, and I never ever was late ever again, because he was like, you cannot afford to be late. You, my darling, can never be late. And I was like, got it. And that altered to me staying ready at all times, me being there 15 or 30 minutes early, do my warm up for me to be prepared, for me to get my body prepared to do what I need to do. I feel like it took that, went through my career as an accountable and responsibility. Like, everybody wants somebody that is responsible and accountable, not somebody that gets injured every time, every day, you know, because they're not doing what they're supposed to do before they need to walk in the room. But I think that was like, okay, never late, always, always 30 minutes prior, rolling down, and then I enter a room and I am good, you know? But I think that was one of the lessons that I definitely took from Point Park. And especially because back in the day, there was not a lot of diversity. So we had to really be on ourselves, because we didn't want to fall into the stigma of what it was to be Latina, you know, coming and strolling whenever, you know, no. So, and I would be the first from every show. I would be there. I would be the first one to clock in, sign in, and everyone's like, and the last one to clock, because I do my up and then I do my cool down. And the reason why I do that is because I see, you know, Bahia, one of like amazing she has been performing. She's, you know, in her, like, I want to say, I don't want to put her age out there, but she has managed to sustain such longevity with her career because of the discipline of what she does before and after her performances. So that was something that I remember sitting down in my meeting, like, you know, when we had our what was that called? I forgot. Our meetings, our one-on-ones.
One-on-one. Mm-hmm.
And that was, you can't be, it's not a thing. Never. And I was like, understood. So I think that was one of my takeaways for sure.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to throw out a valuable lesson from Point Park as we wind down our session today?
Yeah, I think the experience at Point Park, it set the bar very high, and the expectations are very high. And so I think that got me kind of like what Jennifer is saying. It's like, you show up, that just becomes part of your routine, and being the most professional, the most prepared individual that you can be, because it's gonna benefit you so much in your professional career, not only just at Point Park in like the collegiate setting and just, you know, being there for classes and rehearsals, and even just getting through a day or getting through a week. I think that was something that really stuck with me and has helped me, I think, so much in my career, because that even leads to the kind of reputation that you have. So if you have that routine, that leads to the director knowing that you're going to be there, the associate being like, hey, I'm doing this thing, do you want to be a part of it? Because they know that you're going to show up, and they know that that you set the bar that high for yourself, and so you're going to rise to the expectation.
Yeah, fantastic, brilliant. Cassie, go ahead.
One thing I just want to say super quick is that the most valuable thing I took away from Point Park was hard work pays off. You show up for yourself, you show up for the people in the front of the room, you do your best every single day, and you will be rewarded in the end. And you have to stick with it. Stick with it when you want to give up on anything. Stick through those hard times. You have to, and that's the only way you'll get to where you want to be.
Brilliant, fantastic. What wise words to end our session today. For those of you who have been who have been watching along with us and participating in this session, this is the second session rather of the Dance Department at Point Park's Dance Speaker Series, and we are welcoming back our alums to talk about their experiences in the dance industry, and we're so proud of their achievement. And we look forward to seeing them on the stage again. Thank you so much for joining us. And tune in again next Monday for another session. We have more of our alums talking about their experience in the concert dance area. Thank you, everyone.